Welcome to Carl and Heather Present,
the podcast where we dive into the insights, challenges, and humor of being married to someone who is nothing like you.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Oh, don't you know it's Carl and Heather Present Marriage Podcast.
Welcome to Carl and Heather Present, episode 9. So glad everybody could join us for this round.
Absolutely. So normally you would ask me how I'm doing right here, and I'm going to flip the script today and start with you. So give us an update on life. How are you, babe?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I am excited that college basketball season is underway. I love college basketball, and I love the North Carolina Tar Heels. You and I both decked out in our North Carolina Tar Heels gear today.
Go Heels.
You look great.
Thank you. You do too.
And I'm excited about Christmas because I love Christmas so much. Our house is decorated. We're November 1st, put up your decorations, people.
Yep.
And thank God for it. I love it.
And it comes right at the tail end or right at the beginning of daylight savings, which is sad for me because then it's like dark right at dinner time, really early in the afternoon here in Nashville. And you come home and the lights are glowing and warm and it just, I don't know, it lifts your spirit. So why do you love Christmas so much?
My two favorite people celebrate birthdays this time of year. My Lord and my love.
Aww.
You and Jesus share a birthday.
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. And one of the first things I remember about you when we first met very early on was I learned that your birthday was on Christmas Day, which I think is so fun.
Yeah.
But then you were also quick to teach me that there's not one present for Christmas and birthday. Maybe a lot of people had done that to you in your life. But you were like, it's two presents. It's two separate celebrations. It's two different kinds of wrapping paper. There's Christmas wrapping paper and then there's birthday wrapping paper.
Yep. All the things.
And so I learned that about you. No combo gifts.
Right.
But you this year, you have a big birthday coming up.
I do. Yep. Like a really big one.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think as I get older, I look forward to birthdays because I can look back on these, now it'll be almost 50 years of living life. And I think God has been so good to me. I can look back on my life and think and see, not just think, but see how good God has been to me. And I want to tack on to what you said earlier. This is a great piece of marriage advice and just advice for anybody. And it's that birthdays and Christmas are always separate. So you may even try to like squeeze one in for November or January. You can't do that. Birthdays and Christmas are always separate. So don't shortchange us December birthday people. Okay.
Well, and I think it's good to let everybody know that you are, your birthday is on Christmas and you're also a gifts love language person.
Yes,
so
that's
if
my
you've
love
ever
language.
heard about love languages, you know, yours is 100% gifts.
Absolutely.
And so if somebody messes up a gift, not good for them.
Kind of a big deal. So anyway.
Well,
yeah.
Happy birthday soon.
Thank you. I'm excited.
That counts for now and for later.
Okay, thanks. Well, let's get into some listener comments. Talk about that.
What do we got? On YouTube, our friend Nathan B. Smith 321 says, great conversation on communication. There were parts of this conversation that felt like we were at Thursday morning coffee. I'm in a coffee group with Nathan, but we're at Thursday morning coffee where we're talking about the power of our words as image bearers of Yahweh Elohim. We have the power to bless and curse each other, and our words matter. I heard someone say before, words build worlds, and that's true. So thanks for listening to that episode on communication on YouTube. And then from carlandheather.com, we got an email from our friend Andrea that said, I just wanted to reach out to you guys and say that you are killing it on your podcast. I've loved listening each week, and the topics and advice you've shared so far have been so practical, helpful, and applicable, which is super nice. And
so
what
nice.
a nice thing to hear. We're out here trying, and it's good to have the positive feedback. So even if you hear something that you like or hate on here, please let us know. Like and rate and review the podcast because it helps people hear what you are getting out of the podcast. It helps people hear what the listeners are getting out of the podcast. So that's awesome. There's no better endorsement for me and Heather than for people to share this ministry with their friends and their family.
That's right.
So what are we talking about today, babe? I've been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, me too. So today we're going to be talking about miscommunications or stories of miscommunications, more specifically, things that we've heard or said wrong ourselves for years, literally, and never knew about. I will say it has been one of the funniest things for us in our marriage, so much so that we've kept a running list of all the things we've said wrong or thought were this thing, but it was another thing kind of idea.
Like a language humor kind of thing.
Yes.
We really love that. That's been a thing for us that we've gotten into.
Yep.
And I think I want to get into it, but I thought we might start by before we get into our list.
Yeah.
You're funny with words, and I wanted to see if you could pass this little quiz. So I'm going to say some commonly confused phrases.
Okay, and I have not. You wrote this without me, so I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what these are. So y'all be kind to me.
I want you to tell me which one you think are right.
Okay.
So these answers will be genuine.
Okay. Yeah.
But this is a test of your knowledge of how to use words.
Okay.
Okay, which one of these is right? Nip it in the butt or nip it in the bud?
Ooh, I'm going to go with bud. Nip it in the bud.
Okay.
Is that right? And I don't know if it's at first I was like cigarette bud, but that's a butt.
Yeah.
Or
nipping it in the bud means you are putting an end to something before it actually starts. But nipping it in the butt means you are biting someone on the butt. So
like your dog nips you on the butt
your
kind
dog,
of thing.
If it's
both could be right depending on context, I guess. Yeah. Anyway.
Well,
okay.
A lot of these are that way. But if you want to bring something to an end,
okay,
nip it in the bud.
Bud.
I could care less, or I couldn't care less.
I think I always say I couldn't care less, but I don't know. That's tricky. I don't know on that one.
I couldn't care less
Yeah.
means that you don't care about the chosen topic at all. But saying that I could care less means that you do care about it at least a little bit.
Yes, I got it right. So I got that one right. Okay, good.
Well, I don't know. Depends on what you're saying. All right. I love this one. Is it for all intensive purposes or for all intents and purposes?
I think it's for all intents and purposes, and not intense like you're too intense, calm down, but like intentions kind of thing.
For all intents and purposes means that you are covering all possibilities and circumstances. But for all intensive purposes doesn't make any sense, even if you feel intense about your purpose.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Good.
A couple more, espresso or espresso?
Well, I don't drink coffee at all, any kind. I feel like the right answer is espresso, and I feel like it should be pronounced espresso because of what people tell me it does to you, like, the caffeine levels. Okay. So I don't know.
Maybe two more.
Yeah.
Irregardless or regardless. So whatever your answer is,
yeah,
irregardless or regardless, which is the proper use?
I'm a regardless girl, not irregardless.
Irregardless of what you think.
Right.
Regardless means without regard. But irregardless makes this a double negative, which consequently doesn't make any sense. Okay. All right. Last one. If I'm eating a lot of food quickly, am I woofing it down or am I wolfing it down? So is it WOOF? Like woof, woof, woof. I'm wolfing it down, or am I wolfing it down like a wolf would eat, which is similar.
This is
But what's the proper way?
This is hard. I think I'm going to land with wolf, WOLF. But I honestly don't know because I feel like both make sense because a dog also wolfs it down like you said, woof, 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 that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Do you know what the answer is?
No, I don't.
Nobody knows. So if you've got an opinion on it, let us know. Shout us out in the old comments and the emails if you're wolfing something down or woofing your food down.
I love that. I'm curious as to how many that our listeners got right and wrong too. Like, are we the only ones out there, or are other people
No,
like,
this is popular.
Okay,
People love
all right,
this.
okay. Well, and one of the reasons we even decided to do this was based on one of the greatest misunderstandings of my life up until this point. Okay, so I'm going to start with this story. Around the town that I grew up in. I grew up in a small town called Maiden, North Carolina. Shout out to all my friends from Maiden. And my whole life, up until maybe around high school, I thought that the term maiden name was associated with the town that you lived in. So in other words, you grew up in a town called Kings Mountain, right? Mm-hmm. And so if there was a girl before she got married, somebody would ask her, what is her, and the right term is maiden name, but they would say, what is her Kings Mountain name versus what is her maiden name? Because it was a small town, people didn't travel very much, or we didn't travel a whole lot outside of it. And so that's a term that nobody ever teaches you the right way of saying it. You just hear it and you kind of grasp the meaning, in context. And so in the context that I was in, everybody was from Maiden, so everybody had a maiden name. Okay? So it was not until I was listening to my family talk about a girl who had just gotten married, and somebody said, well, what's her maiden name? Well, I knew that this girl was from Virginia. I knew she had never lived in Maiden. My first thought was, maybe she's from Maiden, and I just didn't know it until all of a sudden this light bulb went off, and I realized, wait, maiden name is it's for everybody, not just people from Maiden.
I'm curious to know how old you were when this happened, when you learned about this.
I was in high school. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just something that I always thought, and it's kind of a misnomer that I thought was one way, but it was really the other.
That is probably my favorite story about you. Just as far as a funny thing goes, that is so good. I'm glad your maiden name is Lookadoo.
Lookadoo.
Because
Yay.
you're from Maiden.
That's right, because I'm from Maiden.
I have a friend who told me a story about an interaction one time around the phrase making ends meet. He was talking to somebody who was talking about the struggle of having not enough, money at the end of the month.
Yeah, more month than money.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right. But they had it in their mind that ends meet was ends, MEAT. I'm trying to make ends meet. And the concept was that what you were trying to say was that you just got a few scraps left and you mash it together, I guess, into a little loaf.
I don't know.
Because that's all you got left.
Yeah.
You just need a little bit more meat, but you only got the end pieces.
I love that. Which actually goes with having more month than money.
Well, these are subtle things, but because, I have always believed, and I think it's correct to say, if you're trying to make ends meet, MEET.
Right.
I've told that story several times, and people are like, no, I think it does mean making little pieces of meat to get pressing them together, because it's just little end pieces.
Yeah. I love that. And most of the time, there's a little bit of truth in that, or you can see why people would think the way they did. I remember my friend Susan, who is in North Carolina, worked in healthcare, and she told me a story once about a man she was meeting with who had high cholesterol. And so she was going through the different reasons with him that would be the reason why he had high cholesterol. And so she said, well, maybe it's your diet. And he was like, no, it's not my diet. Maybe it's your lifestyle or stress level, that kind of thing. He was like, no. And she said, well, maybe it's your genes. And he replied, no, I only wear pants. So clearly a misunderstanding of the English language. And then a friend of ours here went to a weight loss clinic once, and this is a true story. She told us this story, and we all just died laughing. She told us this. It was so funny. And she was in the waiting room of the clinic.
At the weight loss clinic,
in the waiting room. And she's sitting there, and finally somebody comes to get her. The nurse comes to get her, calls her name, and says, you can come on back now. And as they're walking back to the exam room, the nurse looks at her and says, sorry about your weight. And her friend says, well, it's my own fault. And so at that point, she realized, wait, she's not talking about my actual weight, how much I weigh. She's talking about the fact that I had to wait a long time.
Which would be like a real jerk move for a nurse at a weight loss clinic.
Totally.
First time you see somebody, sorry about your weight.
Totally. But we misunderstand those things so easily. But it's really funny.
Here's a good relationship one. My friend, early in their dating relationship, riding down the road, a couple that we're close friends with, riding down the road in a car, and a song from the band U2 comes on.
Okay.
And then my friend says, I don't like you too much.
Okay.
And my other friend, I thought it was going great.
Yeah.
You know, like I
Right.
thought this relationship was really starting to tick up. But
Right.
here you are just all of a sudden announcing, I don't like you too much. And I think it took him quite a minute after fighting to figure out
Right.
what he meant to say
Yeah.
was, I don't like the band U2 very much.
Yeah.
But what she heard was, this isn't going great.
Right.
I don't like you too much.
I can see that.
That can happen.
That's unfortunate.
Now, you, one of the things that I find attractive
Yeah.
in you is that you have been known to have a Southern accent.
Yes.
A lot, even people that have listened to our podcast have
Yeah.
commented
Right.
that you have a thick Southern accent.
Right.
And even, especially when we leave the South, you're a little bit like, oh my gosh, you
Yeah,
have a
right.
Southern accent. So I like the way you talk, but there
Thank
have been
you.
times when you have made me laugh because of the way you say certain things.
Okay.
Some words.
Yeah.
Like the name IAN.
Okay.
The man's name IAN. How do you say that?
Okay. I have to qualify this, okay, because all my maiden friends can back me up on this, but I had one friend with that name growing up. He himself pronounced it this way, okay? So we called him Ein.
Ein.
Yes, that's it. Now, when I met you, and then even when I started watching, not like I started watching movies when I met you, but when I started listening and paying attention, and I heard other people pronounce that same name, Ian,
Yeah.
right? I just thought to myself, well, they're just fancy, okay?
Yeah.
And we're just down to earth, so we know how to say it, but they say it in a fancy way because the right way is Ein.
That's the way fancy people say it.
The way everybody else says it is Ian, right?
Ian is his maiden name.
Right. Okay.
How do you say the word COUPON?
I say coupon.
Coupon.
Like we're going to cut coupons.
coupon.
Not coupon or coupon.
Coupon.
But coupon. I know it's not, there's no QUE in there. I know that.
I
but
think
it's just,
French. Coupon.
maybe I'm fancy.
How
I
do
don't
you
know.
say the word OIL?
Okay.
I'm going to get the OIL changed in my car.
I say oil.
Oil. I say that too.
You say that. That's just where we're
Oil
from.
is too much effort.
Oil sounds fancy too. I'm just saying, you sound like I'm going to go get my oil changed.
Ian is going to get his oil changed, and he has a coupon.
Yes.
Tells.
Yep.
Okay, so we actually invented a person based on this story.
I'm a little embarrassed about
I love it. This is good. So, sometimes I help you get ready, and a lot of times it involves adjusting your
Yeah.
bra straps and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
all the things.
Zipping up dresses
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that. And so I was helping you one time, and I said, I zipped something up, and I was like, is that right? Does that hurt? And you said, it's mainly pinching. It's mainly pinching.
which is my way of saying it's mainly pinching.
It's
but
pinching it's mainly
it's-
doing that. It doesn't
right.
hurt, but it is pinching.
It's mainly pinching.
It's mainly pinching. And so we actually decided that could be like a character in a book. I think that's my Reddit name is mainly pinching.
he would be from the South. Mainly pinching would be from the South for
Mainly
sure.
pinching is definitely from the South. So we've been talking, this is funny stuff.
Yeah.
I love to laugh with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does this help awaken affection for God and each other in our marriages? Where does this intersect with the gospel.
Yeah. Well, I think bottom line, and listen to the last, 15, 20 minutes of us talking to each other. God gave us laughter and we laugh together. And sometimes we just take ourselves way too seriously. Like we don't laugh together as couples. There's a verse, Proverbs 17:22 says, a joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. And I love the Message version of this. It says, a cheerful disposition is good for your health. Gloom and doom leave you bone tired. And I think that's so true because there's something that's healing about laughter. Even science borrows its cues from the Bible in this area because you release endorphins when you laugh. That's so good for you. It helps your immune system. It's healing. And so I think for the married couple, laughing, it connects you more deeply. It's a gift created by God for us to enjoy. And we enjoy it. Yeah, absolutely.
What if you're married to somebody who's not very funny? Like asking for a friend.
Oh, okay. Smarty pants. Well, honestly.
You are super funny.
Thank you. I believe that everybody has their own brand of humor. So you might not, if you're listening, you might not think the same things that are funny that we think are funny, but you have your own thing that you think is funny. And so the idea though is I'm going to find out what that is for you and you're going to find out what that is for me. And then I'm going to do that thing.
So how do you get on the same page with your spouse as what's funny? How comedy, very objective, like things like movies and music. Yep. It's, excuse me. So how do you identify what is funny for your spouse?
Right.
How do you get on the same page with comedy and laughing? Because, it's very subjective.
Sure.
Like music, movies, art, super subjective. So how do you find out what's, the subjective stuff that we get on the same page about?
I've heard you say this before, and I think it's worth mentioning that you have got to become a student of your spouse in every area. And you've done that with me, and hopefully I've done that with you, or I try to continue to do that with you. So you've studied me, and you've figured me out in a lot of areas. So you know that I like funny memes, we'll lay in bed at night and I will show you funny memes that my sisters have sent to me and I will just laugh until I cry. And you know that about me. And you know I love rom-coms. And I've done the same thing with you. I know that you love watching adults wipe out on video. Okay, like Fall or that kind of thing.
You have to lower your standards to get to know me.
And so I send those to you, and you like witty banter, like Nate Land podcast. You love that. You love witty banter. And so your thing might not be my thing. My thing might not be your thing, but we have found our thing, right? Which is The Office.
Yep. The Office. We love that show. And
so we've worked hard to identify each other's needs, but then we've also met in the middle and found something that we both enjoy together. I think that's the bottom line of that.
I think the system is rigged for anxiousness, depression, and fear to kind of have its way with us.
Yep.
And so we're going to face trials and tests that force us into those places. So how do you learn, though, to do like James says, count it all joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kind, even though you don't laugh at everything.
Right.
There is a place where joy can be a part of it. And you can laugh and count it all joy, even when you suffer. Suffering is going to happen.
Yes.
We are not going to be exempt from it. So everyone's clear on that.
Right.
What I need and what I found in Jesus is a way to suffer and still be able to have joy in the midst of it, because the gospel transcends my circumstance.
Yeah.
Even so much so that even the heaviest of circumstances can help lift my eyes when I think about the hope that I have in Jesus.
Yeah.
So
that's so good, because then it's not just about your current circumstances. It transcends you somewhere else. I love what you said.
Yep.
That's great, babe. So, well, let's do a turn and wrap up this part of our session and talk about where we're going to be real quick. Okay.
All right. December 8th, Christmas Worship House.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Franklin, Tennessee.
I can't wait.
We have Worship House once a month at our home. If you want to be there, it's 6:30 to 8:30. Oh, no, 6 to 8. It's 6 to 8. our home. Email us or DM us for
Yeah.
the address.
We'd love for you to come. February 8th of next year, February 8th is the Behold Women's Gathering in Franklin, Tennessee. You can go to beholdgathering.com to find out more information. But I wanted you to know that we have some amazing speakers and worship leaders, artists lined up this year. We've got Shannon Scott, Caroline Saunders, Spinsha Baker, Jenna and Zoe are going to be there. April Cushman is going to be there. And so registration is open. The event will sell out. So if you've not gotten your tickets for you and your friends, your church group, grab those right away at beholdgathering.com. We'd love for you to be there.
All right. We always talk about Weekend to Remember on the podcast. Weekend to Remember is a marriage conference event that Heather and I are part of. There's a huge team of speakers that help us speak at these events, but they are a great investment in your marriage. So if you're looking for something to do the first part of the year, we will be at a Weekend to Remember February 14th through 16th at Napa, California, February 28th through March 2nd in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, March 21st through 23rd, Newport, Rhode Island. Never been to Rhode Island before. Looking forward to that. And then in the spring, May 16 through 18, St. Augustine, Florida. You can register for those at familylife.com. And if you want $100 off your registration, you can use code TEAMCART when you sign up.
Team Carty. I love it.
I'm going to be also leading worship for a men's conference that I've had the opportunity to lead worship for many, many years. March 14th through the 16th, Capital Community Church Men's Conference. It's open to everybody, though. You don't have to go to Capital Community Church to come. It's at the Cove, the Billy Graham Training Center in North Carolina.
Yeah. And all of this information can be found on carlandheather.com. So if you missed this or you want to go back and see where we're going, want to have links to where you can connect with those different places, carlandheather.com is a great place to do that.
We're setting aside Mondays to pray for marriages.
Yeah.
Me and you and anybody that wants to join us, 7 a.m. Monday mornings. If you have a prayer request, no matter how small or big, let us know on the socials. Let us know through email. You can email us at hi@carlandheather.com so we can be specifically praying for you and your marriage and your situation.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then Behold Women's Bible Study makes a great gift for Christmas. It's available on Amazon. It's available everywhere you would try and find a book. As long as that place is Amazon and carlandheather.com.
Right.
Also, heathercarty.com.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, one of the things we love to do is to bring this kind of thing to a live event at your church or in a group setting. So if you're interested in having us come to your church or marriage event, reach out to us on social media or at carlandheather.com. We'd love to join you.
Remember this. Jesus said, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light." He said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden and worn out, and I will give you rest."
Yeah.
I think he was helping us see that being light in heart and easy with a laugh is one thing we can receive from him. Again, this system is rigged for us to be sad and depressed. But the more confidence we draw from being with Jesus, the easier it is to look at the world, place our hope in Jesus, and laugh and rest in him no matter what circumstances come up. And that's something that's a lot easier said than done, but that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to practice. And I hope everybody that listens, that you start making a list of stuff that you think is funny and that you can share together.
Yep, absolutely. Well, hey guys, thanks for listening. Join us for our next episode. We'll talk about how to cultivate relationships around the table. Together on purpose.
Together on purpose. Boom.